my gosh, those lights keep getting my eyes. Loren! 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 Loren!
Philadelphia, I love you.
We love you!
I love all of you. And Dara loves all of you. And you know, Philadelphia, you have been such a part of this healing journey with me because I don't know where Drayton is. Where is that guy? Drayton called me every week after Dara passed and kept me busy. And we booked seminars just the first week of October, didn't we? We stayed busy being around positive thinking and doing things that JR would want me to do. And I have to tell you, a lot changes in a year, doesn't it? And, well, this week, approaching on Wednesday, is a huge reminder to me how life changed so quickly, so suddenly. As you saw my husband give one of the greatest performances of his life on this very stage. On this very stage, he left all he had for 30 years. He performed on this very stage. And all those pictures and videos and all the things that you saw happened right here. And so, I'm grateful. And I want to talk about being grateful for a moment because I don't think we really realize what it's like to be grateful until after we lose things.
Keep going it.
You know, when you think about all that we have, like cell phones, right? Cell phones. Imagine someone had taken away your cell phone. It's like, what will we do without our phones right now to communicate? Or our iPads, our children, they'd have full meltdowns. Or Ubers, right? There was a lot more DWIs back then. Right? We have so much to be grateful for in life. But until we lose it, we never really realize it. And I think in this journey of grief, I've learned so much about people. I've learned so much about what you thought were friends. And then you find out who your real friends are. And I wanted to take a moment to thank my family, my beautiful daughter, my grandchildren, Amber, who have been there with me every day, made sure I didn't have to sleep alone for the last year, and I'm grateful for you. You are amazing. You're amazing. Your dad would be really proud of you. Really proud of you. And Ava, I see you right there, my granddaughter. Can we just give my granddaughter the biggest round of applause? She never left her seat. And by the way, I want you to get rowdy with me this afternoon. So if you see one person stand up, the rule is everybody stands up. Right by my side this weekend. And I want to thank my incredible brothers, Mark and Steve, who Mark just kept everything going, as always, helping picking up all the pieces, and Steve and my sister. And you just have so many more grateful things that you never think about. My beautiful friends Natalia and Mary and Andrew, those of you who were there every night, Christian, Lala, you know who you are. That you were there. And I know it's hard to understand. People think it's like, hey, I hope you're feeling better now. Like, yo, bro, I didn't have a cold. I've been with my husband for 37 years. We never slept alone. Because we had a rule, if you get in a fight, you couldn't go to bed mad. And I think that was part of the formula for our success. Gerald was a perfect gentleman. And even in his last moment, we were doing his favorite thing on the yacht, on the water, and he was watching the videos of you all when he was on stage. And just like a gentleman, he walked away for a second and took a deep breath. And that was the last time I ever saw him. Listen to me. Time moves fast. Everything changes. But I want to assure you that our number one product is still belief. Our number one product is still belief, and I hope this weekend rejuvenated you and brought you back to life as it has for me. Even for me for a moment. I hope it's brought you back and rejuvenated you and given you something to believe in. And I hope that you'll have a breakthrough. I hope that you'll keep growing. I hope you'll keep progressing. Because all we have is time, and yet we can't get any more of it. And it's later than you think. You see, I've never experienced a pain like this. I know grief really well. I lost my mother at our first annual convention, and that was heartbreaking for me because I was 21 years old. I had a 7-month-old daughter, and many of you leaders were there with me. Elizabeth, at my mother's funeral at the first annual convention, there was about 200 people, and she had a massive heart attack. And I never thought Mark and I and Stevie and Brad would get over that because we were such a close family. But somehow or another, through a lot of therapy and hard work, we got through it. But that grief was painful. Then I lost my father about 10 years later. And my father was a tough dad. He wasn't always the type of dad that you necessarily want to have. But, we've always been forgivers in my family. People give the best that they can. And so we always learn to work with it. And he ended up being wonderful. And later in life, he ended up being a big proponent of this organization and a big supporter of it. And when I lost him, I suffered because I felt like it was the end of an era, an end of a decade. Where did I belong? Who was I with? But when I lost JR, it was a different level of grief. The type of pain that you cannot describe, the pain that lives inside your soul and your heart every second of your life. And nothing ever makes that pain go away. And so while I know that I'll never quite be the same, I know what he would want. He would want me to still show up for him, show up for you. And although nobody wants to step in JR's shoes, and I'm certainly not trying to, I will do what he asked me to do, which is step in this position, in this role as a CEO, and do what I need to do in order to take this company to the next level and into the future. That is my plan. I love you guys. And I want to talk to you, as Brighton knows, about one of mine and JR's favorite topics. Most of you know that JR and I always had the same theme, didn't we, Andrew? And it's so weird because 2 weeks before conference, we would never really communicate about what our plans were to speak about. We would just get together a few days before, Dana, I don't know where his area is. A few days before, and we said, what are you talking about? Somehow or another, we'd always be on the same page, right, Andrew? And he'd always be like, here's my presentation, and here's yours. He'd take mine, I'd take his. And we'd work together on it. So we always talked about 3 things, always. And the themes were, because Jared talked in themes, time, love, and death. Why? Because everybody wants more time. And Jared's big belief was love is all we need. And the last thing was is that we're all going to die. All 3 things we have in common. So I want to explain something to you that I want to mention to you that is not only important for you to understand from me, but it's important for you to understand. Because we're in this together. As you progress forward, I'm rebuilding belief in myself again too. And so we can do this together. We can be better than ever. But I want you to understand something. Often you'll hear the statement, time heals all. Let me explain something to you. Don't use that. Time doesn't heal shit. It don't heal shit. Let me tell you something about time. Time doesn't heal at all. It does nothing but go on. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't bring comfort. It doesn't know how to console or mend a broken heart. All that time does is continue to move forward. Move forward on me and move forward on you. Right, Brett? That's what it does. So you got to do something with the time right now. That's what you got to do. That's all you got to do. You got to move forward. You got to do something now. This is your life. It's your life. All right, it's your life. I see you, Kevin. I see you, Rich. I see all of you guys from Taiwan. I love you. Your commitment to be here is remarkable. Your commitment to be here, every single one of you, it's a magic moment. I will never be able to fill his shoes, but I promise you together we'll keep his legacy alive. I will never marry another man. I never look at another man. I love my husband. Somebody told me, Ben Affleck told me the other day, actually, I'll tell you, he said it. Ben Affleck told me the other day, he said, imagine what it's like to have that type of love. Imagine that you don't have to search ever again to find what it knows like to feel that type of love. I wish you the same. I want the same for you. But right now, I want you to focus on you. Today, I want you to focus on you. Because let me tell you something. We've all had a lot of crises in our life. I've had so many crises, I can't even name them all. And none of them ever happened until this moment of my life. We make such a big deal about the big deals that aren't big deals. We gotta stop complaining. The only person holding you back is you. The only person holding you back is you. I gotta tell you, JR was never sick. He was never sick. He was the healthiest guy I know, and he should still be up here today. And if it wasn't for the government telling us what to do with these needles and these viruses and taking vaccines, yourself from is out there. Because in this environment, everything's different. Everything's different. JR would say that the joy is in the journey. So fast car rides, Wendy's super bars, stops at graveyards to look at tombstones, to remind us that we're living the dash. Traveling as astronauts to outer space, living with a part-time brain surgeon to real-life brain surgery with me. Everything. From hissing in our pits, to walking a tightrope, to keeping everything balanced. Running on hamster wheels, to raising hamsters with his grandchildren. Keeping everything on time while he smashed our alarm clocks. And of course, he picked up and saved the starfish along the way. That's what we did. It was all part of our 3.5 decades together, and I would never change it for a moment. He did everything with love and enthusiasm, and he always put the big rocks in first. He taught us that we have to put ourselves first. You know, it's interesting when I think about JR. I think we didn't find each other until we were ready. And Drayton, that's something I really agree with you and your team with. Stop worrying about getting into relationships that aren't healthy for you. Stop worrying about looking for the right person and start looking for you. Start looking for you, and until you find the right person, you stick with you. And when you find the right person, that right person will go and pushing you and telling you that you can do anything. As Jared would say, Andrew, what other place do you know for all these crazy people that come together in one room and lift each other up? Lift each other up. Let me tell you something. Growing old together wasn't in the cards for JR and I. But growing together was. And we did that, and we will continue growing. Because as sure as I stand here, I know he's right there with me, always. And I now understand what Jared meant when he would say this company's bigger than him. Let me ask you a question. What company do you know that actually survives its CEO and all of the people in it? How many companies do you know are still out there paying every single check on time every week? Thank you, corporate team. I am so grateful for you. Because while I went through this, you made everything keep going. You kept going through everything. Let me tell you, we're the best team on the planet. The best team on the planet. Best team on the planet. It wasn't enough. It wasn't enough that we lost Dennis 18 months ago, and then almost 12 months ago, Wednesday lost JR. And my corporate team hasn't stopped. And Mark Ashley, you are the most incredible president and COO of a company that I've ever seen. And Steve Ashley, today you smashed it on stage. JR was looking down and was proud. I'm so the most amazing thing of all is that Jared will continue to change the lives of thousands of people because the legacy of supplemental income. I really do believe that. I want to tell you, imagine what it was like for me at the age of 18 years old meeting JR. I'm 54 years old. At 18 years old, I met my husband. First 3 weeks I was dating him, he picked me up and took me to a graveyard. I had no idea what I was dealing with. I thought for sure, right, he was a psychopath. I had no idea, Brett, what he was going to do to me. I thought maybe for sure he was getting ready to bury me, Mark Bernanke, in the ground. Then I started to learn that this is this guy's protocol. Our dates weren't going to be fancy restaurants, they were going to be fancy graveyards. And I remember in the early days, as Mark well does, we would drive from place to place, city to city. And all along the way, I think Jared dated me in the early days because I drove. I stopped driving 25 years ago. But in the early days, he liked somebody else to drive, and we'd listen to Billy Joel, and then listen to his tapes in between, then listen to Billy Joel, and then listen to his tapes in between. And we'd go to these meetings, and there'd be 4 or 5 people back in the early days. This is right before, I would say, maybe September of '92. And Amber was recently born, and we were really, this was even earlier than that, okay? And we would go to these places, and I remember watching him speak in front of these people, 4, 5, 6 people at a meeting, and he'd be up there just shaking, writing the plan up on the board, talking about how one day people are going to buy their clothes, their vitamins, their hair shampoo and conditioner online. And I got to tell you, at 18 years old, I try to have great vision, but I just couldn't get it. And certainly the people in the crowd couldn't, because nobody even had a computer back then. Mm-hmm. People are going to buy their clothes online. They're going to buy their shoes and their vitamins and their hair care and their cosmetics, and everybody was like, this guy's crazy. And so he would just tell it just like he would tell it for 6 people as he would in front of 10,000. Didn't matter with JR. It really didn't matter. When I think about that, I remember being, wow, this guy's special. Because when I looked around the room, people really weren't paying attention to him. You know what I mean? They were thinking he was kind of crazy. So when we would leave the room and get ready to get in the car to head out, I'd be like, wow. And I was kind of feeling bad because I knew that nobody really said yes. And I'd be like, well, where are we going next? He was like, what a great meeting, huh? And I was thinking, are you at the same meeting I am? And he would say, wow, what a fabulous meeting, Brett. This is amazing, Loren. Those people, I said, well, the thing is that I didn't hear anybody get really excited. In fact, they were a little confused, and we didn't really have products to show them, and we don't have any real tests. Oh, it doesn't matter. I just practice on those people. Here's the thing, we got to start practicing. We're getting ready to have a big company, Loren. company's gonna be so big, we gotta practice on everybody we can come across. In fact, you're gonna start practicing at the next meeting when we pull up in Dallas. And I thought to myself, oh, hell no. At 18, I had never spoken in front of a group before. Most people know that even today, that the thing is that most people are scared of is public speaking. In fact, most people would rather die than publicly speak. That's the craziest thing. So he's like, oh, you're gonna be fantastic. I was like, oh, I'm not sure if I should do that. Like, maybe I should practice a few times. I've never done it before. Oh, it'll be simple. You'll get up there for 5 minutes, tell about the company, and we'll get them excited. I've always believed, Loren, that a woman should lead from the front. Now, my husband was a big believer in women. Okay, always.
Not everybody's saying that.
I was scared out of my mind. And I was thinking, God, I can't complain much more because he wanted me to do it. So I got up there and I said, hi, my name is Loren Ashley, and then that was it. I just fell to the ground and passed out. By the time I came around, I saw Jared standing over me. And he's like, somebody turn the AC on in here. You made it so hot this girl passed out. What's wrong with you people? Don't you know how to turn the AC up in here? Jared would never let you feel bad about what you did. His belief in you was so strong that he believed you could do it no matter what. He would make excuses about anything, but he would never, ever let you feel bad when he breath. He'd tell you how great you were anyway. And that's the greatest thing about J.R. right away. And honestly, the next meeting was San Antonio. And by the way, when I got back in that car, I was like, God, he's never going to ask me to speak again, thank God. When we got back into the car, Mariah, I got back in the car and he said, well, we're on our way to San Antonio. Can't wait for you to do this again. I'm thinking to myself, this guy is out of his mind. Brett, he's out of his mind. But you know what he did? Mark Bernanke, he instilled belief in me. And had he not made me get back up, I would have never spoke again. He pushed me and said, you can do this. You're going to be great. So I get back up there and I'm like, good evening, my name is Loren Ashley Ridinger. Loren Ashley at the time. And my name is Loren Ashley. Did I tell you what my name was? It's Loren Ashley. And we have this company. It's called, and I did that for like 15 minutes. Total disaster. When I got in the car that night, I'm telling you, for 15 minutes I spoke what should be 5 minutes and never got anything out except who I was. By the time we got in the car, he told me I was the greatest speaker he had ever heard.
Who's that?
You saw her people.
When you think about being birthed, it makes you think for a moment. Just sit back for a second and think about what we do to society, to our children, to the people around us. What if we instilled that type of belief every day in somebody around us? What if we made people feel like anything was possible? That no matter how awful they sounded like I did, that you were possible, Rich. That you were able, Kevin. What if we made people feel like that, Shell? What a big difference the world would be. Think about that for a moment. Jared didn't care if people joined. You can clap right over me. You know I'll keep talking with you. Jared didn't care who joined and who didn't. Some will, some won't, some won't. So what? Who's next? That was his philosophy of life. And he left a mark on my life and developed me as the person. And we should all be so lucky to have somebody breathe that type of belief inside of you. So I'm grateful, JR. For the rest of my life, I'll be grateful for you. And let me tell you, thank you. I will be forever grateful. Let me tell you, he left his mark on your life. I know. I want to talk to you about that for a minute. It's not easy for anyone. run a company of this size. And when a billionth of a volt went off in JR's mind, he went berserk and he went crazy with Market America. He was going to make it big along the way, he would tell me. And more importantly, it never went without finishing the sentence that I'm going to help thousands of people along the way. That's all he cared about. He never quit. He never gave up. He never gave in. He left everything he loved and everything he did right here on this stage with you. He was one of you. He was a builder, a disruptor, a creator, and a visionary. And he never forgot where he came from. It was not easy to succeed in our business. It was an awesome responsibility. Tens of thousands of people making a full-time income and a part-time income, and those checks have to go out weekly. Think about that. 150,000 independent UFOs, 900 full-time employees, 8 countries, and we take it very, very seriously. We take it very, very seriously, and he had to make sure it worked for both the company and the UFO. He kept us in safe harbor, met regulations, balanced it all or it would fall apart, and he kept it all together and taught us well for 30 years. Hundreds of other companies went to the graveyard. So let me tell you something about J.R. Ridinger. He was right when he said, if you can't build this one, you can't build any of them, because we're the most efficient, highest paced, paying, most extraordinary company with the most extraordinary people to get paid what they're finally worth, period. And we're changing society because we hang out with people who make shit happen. That's who we are. Period. How amazing was this team? This is the future. This is the future. I love you guys. I love all of you. I love it, all of you. Let me tell you something. Here's what I know now. Everything we gain, James, in life will disappear one day. Everything we love in life will disappear one day. And hopefully you'll put away some money for your family and the people you need. But most importantly, what will be left is what's in your heart. What you left to the world. And I think you'll agree with me that J.R. Ridinger served the world in the most beautiful ways. And if you heard on the opening video, he said, I wanted to be somebody. I didn't want to be nobody, so I became somebody. And all I wanted to be remembered for was changing the most people's lives. And that's exactly what he did. That is exactly what J.R. did. You should stand up for that one. He served the world for better. He served the world for better. And even at the last moment, he was thinking of you. Even at the last moment, he was thinking of me because he walked away just like a gentleman and didn't want me to see that. Who does that? I've been through a lot of counseling. I never really was in therapy much in my life because I always thought J.R. was my therapist. J.R. said, baby, if you have a problem, I'll help you out. But as Andrew knows, I go to counseling 3 or 4 days a week because this hole has left a big empty gap and I have to work through it all myself. And most of it's like, things you just miss about the person you love more than life. The things that, J.R. would tell me, and I don't know if I ever told you this, J.R. would tell me he loved me at least 40 times a night. Every time we would turn over in bed, he'd say, baby, turn over, I love you. I'd say, I love you too. Baby, can you turn to the left, my shoulder hurts, I love you. Love you. And we did that a lot every night. So in grief counseling, you often hear other people's stories, because I've tried it always. I tried to do it by myself, I've tried it with people. I try to do whatever I can to try to make myself feel better about my personal life, because the business I can still function, but the personal life is hard. So I'm listening to these people who have lost their homes, right? They've lost their cars, they've lost everything. These are people whose husbands or wives died, and they have no way to pay the bills, no way to drive their cars get repossessed, they have no food to eat, they have no way to live, and I'm thinking to myself, this guy kept everything for all of us. He kept this company so financially strong that we never have to worry about it again. Think about that. Think about that. He kept it all together. We are so financially strong. He left this company so financially strong with all the I's dotted, Joe, right? All the T's crossed. Nobody had to worry about things with the company going into probate, things going wrong. He had everything worked out. I never even knew. I spent half my life looking for keys and phones. His wallet. Little did we know that he had every I dotted, every T crossed, everything was written out, lined up. He was such a visionary that he had the future written on paper. He explained what inflation was. He left memos everywhere. I had no idea. I think I've shown some of it to Drayton and his team when we did seminars back early in October. Let me tell you something. We're stronger than ever. One thing I know is the best way to love someone is not to change them, but instead to reveal the greatest version of themselves. And I truly believe that Jerry and I did that for each other. And we were different. We marched to a different drum. We liked being alone. We liked spending time by ourselves. We didn't go separate away and go hang out with our friends. We hung out with our friends together. And as I told you before, he taught us well that the team, and he and I will be great servants to the world, and this team has served this company so well. Over the last 12 months, there is nobody I know who would do what you guys did. There has been no time for grief, as Mark Ashley said on the stage today. No time to even have a moment to say, I'm in pain. No time for a moment to say, I'm suffering. No time for anything. Everybody just got up and went back to work so you could get your check every single week. That's what happened. Let me tell you, that's a big time thing. Listen, that's a big time thing, but let me tell you with all I know and all the suffering personally, I know one thing for sure, that the greatest days that this company sees and your greatest days are still ahead of you. It is just the beginning. You have to stop waiting, stop wishing, and let's start right now. Today's our first day. We're both on the way to healing, fixing ourselves, getting back on track. There's been a shortage of belief in people in this world, Jared used to say. You stay in this atmosphere and that changes. You stay in this atmosphere. You hear us talking about the atmosphere a lot. The reason why we do that is we don't want you to leave it. We know what happens when you leave it, right, Beth? It's not a good thing. You gotta stop riding around with your handbrakes on. Fear will always be a player in your life. You can be anything you want, but you've got to decide from this moment and stop blaming this on everybody else. The only person who stopped you is you. You're the only person who's been in your way. Stop saying, I don't have time. You know who doesn't have time? JR. You better stop saying I don't have time, because we're all born with the same amount of time. 365 days a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 31 days a month. What time do you not have? JR ran out of time. Stop saying it. It's not right. You have lots of time right today, here and now. Here and now. Stop saying, I'm going to wait till Monday. Nobody remembers who you are when you say that. I hate that. Stop saying that. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? I've seen you at your worst. And I'm going to see you at your best, and you're not stuck. You can do this. It's on you. You're just committed to a certain set of patterns and behavior that have helped you before, but those don't help you anymore. And you need to change things. And you need to make changes. And you need to do things. You know, one thing I saw this weekend, because it was really hard for me to get up here till today, and I could think of what a feat for me just to be here. And I was like, I didn't know at the last second if I could even walk up here. But one of the things I loved doing was watching all of you who did take the stage. You did such a phenomenal job. But one thing I heard very loud and clear, Philadelphia, is how you guys support each other. And I gotta tell you, listen to me carefully, I'm not doing this for an applause, pay attention. It's a recipe for success. Watch what they do when they flip the slides. They turn the slides and they put a photo of somebody in their group up there talking about what they did and give them a lot of love. Everything they do is supporting and lifting each other up, building them as a person. It's something we should all be copying. It's a recipe for success, and I honor you, and I am so in awe with what you're doing. Keep growing, keep going. Don't stop. I love this. It's beautiful. You guys got it. You got it. You know, you're amazing. So many people. I love you. Especially in a younger generation, to see so many people lift each other up. Let me tell you something. When I was 18 and met JR, there wasn't other 18-year-olds hanging out with JR and I. Other 18-year-olds were out. Then they were 21. There was no 21-year-olds, right, Joe, hanging out with us. Everybody was out partying. I love your set of standards. I love what you stand for, who you stand for. And let me tell you something. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for everything. You got to have a certain set of expectations and standards that you're going to live your life by, and everybody else will either fall into place or fall to the wayside. That's up to you. Does that make sense? So many people know a side of you from your past, a version of you that doesn't exist anymore, that shouldn't exist anymore. And this is the only business I know that says you don't have to tear someone down in order to make it. You get to say, you can't compete with me. I want you to win too. That's the greatest thing about our organization. I'm going to start early. I'll go to bed late, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. It takes work, and guess what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. Let me tell you something. Wall Street Journal wrote the other day that we have 75 great quality years to live. Quality. 75 years if you're lucky. 75 summers, 75 winters, 75 springtimes, 75 autumns. When you look at it like that, it's not that much time, is it? What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? We have this crazy notion that, Mark, if we look into the future, we're going to save the best for last. We'll do it later when we get to the end of life. Andrew, save the best for last for what? You don't know when last is. Do you not just see what we went through? You don't know when last is. You get up and do something for you right now. You got to leave here with a different type of feeling. You got to move different. You're going to act different. You got to show up for you. Because let me tell you something, nobody else is showing up for you. You got to do it for you. You move different. You got to get your hat out of the rat race. Forget about all the superficial shit. And forget about all the things that don't matter, the people that don't matter. And get back to what's important right now. You got to become a seeker. You got to become a seeker. You got to take chances. You got to believe in yourself. Start spending more time with people you love. And do things that will make a difference in your life. It's a beautiful thing. Let me tell you something. As I said, stop saying that the future is going to need more than the present. You've got to stop saying that you're saving the best for last. You've got to allocate the time right now. Right now. It's got to be so amazing that you don't want it to ever end. Your day-to-day has got to be so amazing that you don't ever want it to stop. I don't want this day to end. I don't want to lose this day. And you got to make today matter. Stop worrying about tomorrow. Make each day matter and stop saving the best for last, because we don't know when that is. You're the gatekeeper. You got to keep your foot on the pedal, and there's no limit to the ceiling. There's no limitation. It's you and only you decide. And you got to decide where you're going. You got to create a plan and move out and step out of your head. We are so lucky to be born in this time of information, technology. You can do anything you want with this great company. Let me tell you something. I am forever grateful to my husband. I am forever grateful. And I hope that you'll start living life in a different way and realize how important it is to be grateful. But you know who wasn't grateful? Mrs. Pot. I want to talk to you about Mrs. Pot. You see, little Johnny the Python Snake, he wanted to just be a great python. So he wanted to go around and hiss in the pit, just like a python does. He just wanted to have a lot of fun. So he went out in the python pit, started hissing around because he knew he was a great python, and he just started hissing around having a jolly old time. Yes, he did when his mom came out back and said, "Hey, what's all this noise out here?" Saw Johnny hissing around in the python pit. Johnny said, "Johnny, what are you doing? Why you out here hissing in my pit? You can't hiss in my pit. This is my python pit. If you want to hiss in a pit, you gotta go to Mrs. Pot's pit and hiss." And he said, "Mom, I don't want to go to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss. I'm a python. I want to hiss in my own pit." "Listen, Johnny, you can't hiss in my pit. You gotta go to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss in her pit." So here little Johnny did. A snake went over there just as happy as he could be, started hissing around in Mrs. Potts' pit, having a jolly old time when Mrs. Pot came out and said, "Johnny, what are you doing? What are you thinking? You can't be hissing around in my pit. I'm not a python. This is my pit. Johnny, get out of my pit and go back to your python pit and hiss around in your pit. You can't be hissing in my pit. You just can't be here. You gotta go back to your own pit and hiss around, Johnny." Johnny went back to his house, started hissing around, having a jolly old time, just having a great old time when his mother came out and said, "Johnny, what are you doing hissing in my pit?" Said, "Mom, she said, "Ma, I told you to go over to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss. Why did you come back? This is my python pit. If you want to hiss, go over to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss." Johnny said, "Well, I did go over to Mrs. Potts' pit and hiss. I started hissing around, having a jolly old time. When she sent me and told me, you go to your python pit, because I'm not a python, you can't hiss in my pit. So I came back to my pit, Mama, and I started hissing around, having a jolly old time, and that's where I am." And his mama said, "Do you mean to tell me that she said that to you?" He said, "Well, yes, ma'am." She said, "Well, I'll be doggone. I remember when Mrs. Pot didn't have a pit to hiss in." In a lot of people's pits. I love you guys. That was not easy, but I was not going to disappoint. And I know I want us to have a lot of fun. I want us to do things. I want you to approach this differently. I want you to stop playing it like it's a hobby. I want you to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. I want you to be tired of listening to your boss. I want you to finally do something for you. I want you to change the vernacular. I want you to stop treating this like a side business. I want you to stop treating it like a part-time thing for you. Even if you have to work during the day, I want you to come home and treat this as your thing. This is your thing. This is the thing that's going to change your life for the better. Look at these people in this room. Don't you want to be one of these people up here collecting these checks, guys? This is for you. You wouldn't be here otherwise. I'm going to hiss in your tail after me, okay? And nobody try to put any timers up here because I'm not on their clock, they're on mine. This is our time to win, isn't it? This is our time to win. Growth and comfort do not coexist. It takes hard work to get where we're going, right, Elizabeth? It wasn't just a 90-day fast track, like Steve said. She did the 90-day fast track for 30 years. And she did it over and over and over again. And if you're going through hell right now, you're on your way to success. I gotta tell you, because that's what it looks like. I don't know a person, if you listen to that statement from Drayton up there, and the sacrifices that people are making in order to change their life, would you like to be making a director's check like he is?
Yes.
Would you like your people to be making money like he is? Or these people, all these challenge winners, I love you guys. You're out there making it happen. All these high pin levels who keep regenerating and doing the same thing, and you're not resting on your laurels. It's a battle in the mind. One wants to stay, one wants them to go and grow. So many fragile people can't handle making it. And we gotta start moving. Our growth comes from our losses. What will happen if you don't turn your pain into a point? You have no idea how limitless life can be when you stop worrying about what other people think. And you start to realize how little they do. It can change with a choice today. And if you don't decide, I've often said you've already made a decision. And I don't care if you have to inch your way and it's hard and no one sees what you're going through, and it will hurt. But this time, I'm going to do it with you. I'm going to do it with you. We're going to do it together. We are going to build better than ever before. Kevin Buckman and I are getting ready to hit the road together. We're getting ready to stop up in people's homes. We're getting ready to show the business. A lot of people are growing out the field. Listen, you cannot live your life based on what other people think or do.
Speak on it.
You cannot do that. I hate when a person says, I can't do it today. My sister's friend's mother's, grandma's, brother's, grandson's Uncle Fish died, and it's tragic. I mean, you get the dumbest stuff you've ever heard. Or I don't have time is the grown-up version of the dog ate my homework. It's ridiculous. We're adults. The people who don't have time is this guy. When are you going to realize that? I'm going to bet on you. I want to bet on you. And I got to tell you, you got to stop worrying about what other people think. Because most of it's not real. And I got to tell you, I've had a great partner over the last year. Andrew and I have both actually been suffering a great deal, helping each other getting through this grief, because we spent a great deal of time with Jan and I every single day and night. And if you don't mind, I'd love to bring up Andrew Weissman, who did such a phenomenal job today. Each other over the last 12 months, and we spent a lot of time together and really trying to focus on the positive. And we were at home the other day at my house, and the newspaper came out and we read this incredible story, guys. And it was this guy who was 87 years old, and he called up his friend Danny. He said, Danny, I'm 87 years old. We gotta start living, man. Have you heard about this thing called Facebook? Danny's like 87. Not really, hadn't heard of Facebook. He's like, well, man, it's amazing. I mean, we're not getting any younger. We're 87 years old, man. We don't have many friends that are still living. We gotta meet some new people. You go on this thing called Facebook, and you start sharing photos of your dogs, your meals, your cats, your gardening, your friends. And before you know it, you get new friends. Everybody gives you a like. It's amazing. You get likes everywhere you go, right? It was a pretty amazing story. Yeah, you give the thumbs up. He's like, Danny, it's incredible. You got to get a computer. All we got to do, man, is go on Facebook, and you start getting thumbs up, and you share all the things that you do and conversations that you do. Well, I got to tell you, Danny did not want to get a computer, and he didn't know social media very well. So he's 87 years old. So he said, you know what, I'm going to try to go out and apply the same principles in real life. Now, therefore, what Danny did was pretty amazing. 87 years old, he goes walking down the street, he comes up behind somebody at Starbucks, and he sees that they order a Frappuccino, and he gives them a thumbs up. And the person looks at him like they're a little crazy, right? Like, why is this guy watching what I'm ordering? And then the guy goes and takes a seat, and he sees that this guy over here is having a conversation with somebody about his girlfriend, and he shows him a picture of her, and then Danny leans in and gives him a thumbs up again. And people are looking at him like, hey, this guy's a little wacky. Walks down the street, and he sees this guy and holds up his phone and says, hey, you ever see my kitty cat? Look at my kitty cat. And the guy's like, okay, and he's slowly backing up. He's like, this is amazing. Everywhere I go, I'm meeting people. I've got new friends. Walking down the road, sharing information, showing his garden, showing his friends off to people, listening to conversations, giving everybody a thumbs up wherever he goes. And it was really, came up, he called his friend up and said, hey, you ain't got to get a computer. You ain't got to get on Facebook. I went out and tried the real thing. I've already got people following me. I got 2 police officers, a psychiatrist, and a private investigator.
I love that. I love that story.
But it's a true story. It's a true story, and when we saw it, we died laughing. Because you know what we thought of? You got to get back out there and have conversations. And wouldn't it be nice if we knew how to treat people exactly the same way in real life as we do on social media? What would the world look like?
Amen.
And so while we're doing all that, don't forget, I don't know if you have your phone, but don't forget that you've already let your phone replace your calendar, your clock, your agenda, your email, everything's on it, right? Don't let it replace your family. Be careful. And while you're at it, give yourself a like. Everybody give yourself a like for the drone out there. Give yourself a big like, because you deserve a big like for being here right now. That's the real truth. You got to watch out for the negative people. And what you see sometimes behind the screens isn't real. And you have to start getting back out again to build the business. You got to leave your comfort zone. You cannot choose your family, but you can choose your spouse or your girlfriend or your boyfriend. You get to choose your friends wisely. Be smart with it. Tell your mind what you want, and not only is it going to be possible, but it's going to happen. You cannot let the negative thoughts of other people rent space in your mind. You must get rid of them and establish boundaries. You can ask all my girlfriends down there. We have a very strong circle of people. And if you're not positive, Mary, right? What do we say? You out. You out. You can't be in this circle unless you're positive. You got to protect yourself. Just as you were protecting yourself if you had a cold, or if somebody around you had the flu, by washing your hands and avoiding contact with them. That's what you have to do. And if you don't know it, Marty, by the way, it's so good to see you here. Marty, so good to see you here. Marty Rice,
Morning.
I love it. Right, Marty, they got to keep the positive people in their life. But let me tell you something that maybe somebody hasn't told you yet. You're allowed to break up with people. You're allowed to break up with whoever you want. You're allowed to break up with friends. You're allowed to break up with family. Let me tell you something. Jared and I did all of that in the early days. We took a mental vacation from my dad, and as I told you many times, my dad used to tell me, you're never going to amount to anything. You think you're going to grow up one day and live in a fancy house. That's like living in Disney World, sweetie. Ain't going to happen. You can take mental vacations from people, even if they're your family. You're allowed to break up with people and do what's good for you. Because some poisonous people come disguised as friends and family.
Yes.
Pay attention.
Preach!
Stay guard of the door of your mind and make sure you protect yourself and never place any thought in your mind that you wouldn't want to be there. And so because of it, on August 16, 2022, Andrew, as you know, Jared wrote me an email. And he said, you know, I want to do something different on stage next convention, and we're here. So I'm going to do it anyway to honor him. He wrote me, he wanted to perform brain surgery on stage for the first time. And that's exactly what we're going to do.
And I remember being in Greenwich in your living room after he sent you that email. I think it was after dinner we were talking, right? You brought it up, and we started to talk about how fun that would be. He was really very excited about doing this brain surgery with you.
We did.
On stage at the next event.
And if you remember what happened 4 days later before we went away, he said, I already ordered our jackets. And our jackets arrived. JR's jacket arrived. And so today, JR, I'm going to do everything you wanted me to do. We're going to perform brain surgery on this stage because he believed that we were born into a society of rules and policies, procedures, structure, compliance, and standards that limit us in every way, and that we would never see opportunity if it was right in front of us, and we had to clean up our stinking thinking. He used to believe that we had to clean up our stinking thinking and start over again, right? Brainwash ourselves in the right way, because you can brainwash yourselves, and your thoughts can either make you sick or they can make you well. So we got to start doing something right now. So I don't know about you, Andrew, but I'd love to say that we were really trained by the best.
The best brain surgeon there ever was.
I mean, the
And he's
best.
all about duplication.
He really is.
He's fortunate.
Let's take a look at what it was like when Jay would program our brains to become a hopeless success.
So here I am in the control center of the brain. You can hear and see that there's a lot going on here. And look at the wall of thousands of switches that are controlled by the programming input into the brain from what we accept from others, what we hear, what we feel, what we see, experience, think, and most importantly, say to ourselves. Now I'm going to go in and actually do some programming of the brain. First, it begins with a realization, an insight, an idea or thought that you get or accept. A billionth of a volt snaps across your cerebral cortex when you make up your mind. That's all it takes to change your identity and begin programming your mind. That's exactly what happened to Elizabeth Weber when I got inside her brain. First, she was open-minded and receptive because she already began programming her brain by being around positive people, by rejecting negative people, by going to seminars and events. You see, what you put in front of your eyes, and what you listen to and accept from others, and what you experience and feel programs your brain. That programmed hope, and it programmed a positive attitude, an I can attitude. And because of that programming, it programmed the brain to overcome her fears. So, it shut off her fears, it programmed the right attitude, and it caused her to have the hope necessary to build the business. We would figure out exactly what she had to do to get there so that her brain could logically see how it would happen and accept it. So we programmed logic, and the logic made her brain understand how it was going to happen. Then Elizabeth began to think like a success. She refused to think negatively. That caused her to act, and she overcame fear by taking action. So her brain was actually programmed to make her act. But most important, throughout it all, she talked to herself, which is the most powerful form of programming. She would say, I am the best. I will prove that it works, and I will set the pace. She would say to herself, it's the greatest opportunity for the average person. And over again, she would say, Market America is the greatest company. I am the top UFO and distributor. I believe in my people. They are the best, and I empower them. I can do anything I want to do. I am the proof. This is powerful programming, and her thinking made her dreams manifest into reality because she demonstrated success all the time. So her brain was actually programmed to make her dreams come true. And most importantly, she refused to listen to negative people or to complainers and immediately put them in their place. There wasn't a problem that she couldn't solve. She responded with strength rather than weakness as a leader. So she was actually programmed to be responsive to her people and to respond to situations. She became a creative problem solver as well as a creative duplicator. It was nearly effortless after that because she programmed herself to be a hopeless success, and as a result, she programmed her brain to be one, and the rest just happened. She was also programmed to be the spirit of Market America. Her brain actually caused her to be the spirit of this business. Ladies and gentlemen, she wasn't always like that. She was just like you. Let me leave the Brain Control Center now and show you exactly how to program your brain.
It's incredible. Oh, wow. Here we go. We got it in museum.
Oh my
She was
God.
one of the worst patients I've ever seen.
Wow. This is serious. Thank God we were trained by the best, Dr. Vasquez.
There's some stinking thinking over here.
This is incredible. We gotta operate. This is a serious problem. We gotta operate on this guy's thinking here, right? Oh, he looks He looks like a mess,
You
though.
get situated.
You can get situated all you want. This guy's a real mess. Did you get him knocked out, knocked quite enough? Oh, God, this guy is a mess.
Listen, hold on. We have Dr. Vasquez here, who's our anesthesiologist. Let's make sure he's sedated here before we start. No, I got it.
Look, he's like, oh, God, well, we got to really focus on really programming his brain to become a hopeless success. I think that this guy really needs it.
Well, that's a good thing, because this guy is so negative, he really needs this surgery. Thank goodness he's in here. And he has the best brain surgery that there is available now, because we learned from the best in history.
We learned from the best in history, but we got to really focus. This is going to take some work, Andrew. I think we're going to, you got the tools ready.
I'm positive.
Yeah, you're positively negative, that's for sure. But we're gonna operate on your thinking and clean it up. Get that scalpel ready.
So now, for the first incision, let's operate on his brain.
Are you sure that's sharp enough?
Yeah, I think so. I hope so.
We're gonna operate on this thinking.
Tools,
We're gonna
right?
keep this guy down here, man. This is incredible, and that's a really good place to start. This guy complains all the time. When they were willing to admit Dr.
I
Vasquez,
heard him in the back. It was nonstop.
non-stop complaining. Let's open him up, Andrew. We're gonna have to crack this guy's. Oh God, let's give him some more anesthesia. This guy's out of control.
More anesthesia, please.
More anesthesia, please. Let's get these tools, right? I mean, they're gonna have to crack.
Forward a little bit with the nose, that'd be great.
Okay, we're gonna have to.
There we go. So now,
We're gonna operate his brain so he quits making excuses. As you know, this guy has made more excuses than you could possibly imagine.
makes excuses for everything.
It's
Personal life,
unbelievable.
business life, all he does is make excuses.
Yeah.
I can't go to the union
Oh
meeting.
God!
More anesthesia,
This
please.
is
Dr. Vasquez.
unbelievable. This is unbelievable. Let's give him some more anesthesia. The guy's out of
So
control.
listen, so far so good, Dr. Ridinger.
I don't know. So far, so not good. This is a lot of
We're
work.
ready for the next incision.
All right, well, let's
And now
go.
we're going to operate on the part of his brain so he stops worrying about what other people
Oh God!
think.
If he only realized how little people thought of him, we'd be doing all right now.
I'm so worried about what people think about me.
Okay.
God.
Well, Dr. Vasquez, more anesthesia, please.
I think I need something a little stronger for this guy. Hold on, guys.
I mean-
I'm gonna just put him out. I think we got him.
Thank God we got him knocked out. And the most important part of the brain we got to work on this guy is instilling belief in himself. Dr. Vasquez, we got a problem here. I mean, this guy needs to have belief in himself.
Because it all starts with this thinking, this programming, right?
Really
If we can
does.
reprogram his brain with this surgery, which I think we successfully did, it's going to create his beliefs. His beliefs are going to create his attitudes. His attitudes are going to create his feelings. His feelings are going to determine his actions. And of course, his actions are going to determine his results.
Absolutely.
But being that we're the best there is available now because we learned from the
Well,
very
we
best in
learned from the
history,
very best in history, and I
hopefully
think
it's a success.
Well, hopefully it was a success and that knife was sharp enough that you used. But I do think that we made some progress here. And let's hope, Dr. Vasquez, if you don't mind, if you could take him back to recovery for about 4 hours.
I'll take care of this.
We'll check on him when he's done. You know what I mean? But here's the point. It's not about we don't do these things to make you laugh. And I hope you realize that about JR. We didn't do those things to make you laugh. We do those things to make a point.